On this episode of Into the Unknown,
Hi, this is Vicente Amezcua. I am a rugby player. I also design clothing, and I'm working on getting fit for the Rugby 15 season.
I love that, man. So let's just jump into it. As you mentioned, who are you and where are you from? What's your story? What's your origin story?
So I grew up on the border between El Paso, Texas, and Mexico. Yeah, just being a border child. Here, a bunch of us have dual citizenship, speak both languages. And then I went and studied at Georgia Tech. After I graduated from Georgia Tech, I went and spent a summer in Spain, where my parents are from, right on the Mediterranean Ocean, right next to Ibiza, but on the peninsula side. And yeah, just started playing rugby and have been growing from there into an industry which is not very common, which is the fashion industry. It's a very niche industry, but it's also a lot of fun.
I love that, man. So going back a little bit, what made Georgia Tech fall on your radar?
So my dad was living in Atlanta at that time, so he had citizenship. Residency from the state of Georgia, and he just invited me to go and live with him over there and go at a very nice institution, study engineering. I studied mechanical engineering. It was not fun, but I think it was a great growing experience.
I love that you mentioned that. Even the fact that you mentioned it wasn't fun. What really drove you towards that kind of degree?
Just something I always dreamed of since I was a young child. I was just like very good at crafts, very good at building remote control things like cars or airplanes, and yeah, I was really into building and fixing things. So it was always my mindset. I had never doubted I wanted to do engineering, which is weird because then I didn't do anything related to engineering.
It's crazy how many stories are like that where you went to school for something and then your life kind of takes a different route. What got you into
Exactly.
rugby?
So that started after I graduated, and I went and spent that summer living actually with my grandparents in Spain. So I didn't have much friends. I was new there and saw a bunch of people playing on the beach barefoot, throwing a weird shaped ball. I really didn't know what it was, but I decided to be brave and walk up to them and introduce myself. Say, "Hey, can I play with you guys?" And I started learning about rugby. It was a magical summer. We would play on the coastal sevens tournaments, and it was every weekend go to a new beach every weekend, driving distance from there, and it was just a very special summer. That got me hooked into rugby.
I can completely relate to that. As you know, I've lived in 7 cities and 4 states and just moved all over the country, and one of my constants was playing rugby. What did
Yes,
once you got involved in rugby culture, really what was that experience like meeting guys on the team and things like that?
it was strange. It was something I had never experienced. So we would play. After we finished playing, we would go dive in the ocean, and then we would have a beer on the beach, and everyone would buy you beers, which is I don't think that happens in soccer or football or any other sports. It was a very friendly fraternity like atmosphere, which I really liked. So whenever I came back to Mexico and my border cities, I looked for a club, and there wasn't. There was like 4 guys playing on the Mexican side. On the American side, there was a club, but I live on the Mexican side, and I just invited my brothers, my cousins, and just made a team out of my family, and we started playing. So little by little, friends started showing up, and it was fun. It was a great experience.
I love that. So I think in everyone's life, you have an opportunity or maybe a forced opportunity. You can go east, you can go west. You can make a decision that you might not know the outcome. Can you think of a time where you kind of made that decision or that decision was made for you?
I think I'm experiencing exactly that right now in the past few weeks and the upcoming weeks. I will be living it. So after I came back, I started working in automotive airbags. Then started working fixing CNC machines that would cut fabrics. So diving deeper into the fashion industry. Then started selling sewing machines all over South America, and that was a complete dive into sewing and fabrics and parameters, types of threads, etc., etc. At the same time, I had started a rugby company manufacturing clothing. If I do it for other big brands, then I can also do it for my friends and the clubs I play with, play against, and I know they have trouble finding quality sports apparel and designed specifically for rugby, which demands a lot. So I was working on both, and I had to make a decision. Will this be a hobby for the rest of the time and I have to put less attention to my company, or will it be a full-time job and an actual business? So that happened I've been working on it for the past 5 years, and just the past few weeks, a decision was made for me.
So the title of the podcast, man, is Into the Unknown. And I think you've already described a little bit, but tell me a bit more about your jumping into the unknown. Tell me more about your company. Tell me more about what you're working on.
Okay, perfect. I'm excited to talk about it. So the decision was made for me in the sense that I got fired from my job, and I think it was just the push I needed to decide. Okay, you really need to focus on Credo Rugby Sportswear, which is my company, and it's what we do. We do rugby sportswear. So I'm lucky that we are in the office, so I have a sample to show. We work on everything that is rugby oriented. Everything is double stitch. It's just the spirit of the company. Tough materials, stuff like that. Yes.
You got some
Yes.
shorts, man. I absolutely
It's
love these
awesome.
shorts. You know, of course,
It's
and me
awesome.
being from Guatemala, as many of you may know, you were kind enough to send me this jersey as well.
Yes.
As I'm showing off some of your gear, tell me a little bit more about the types of clubs and the different clubs you work with.
So we've been fortunate to have the industry just pull us in. I've tried many times to say, okay, maybe this isn't the way I should be going, but clubs just keep on asking. And just like you said, people move around. Like you moved around a few different clubs. I've moved around because work takes me here and there, and people just spread the word about Credo. So it's a good quality, nice materials, nice stitching, durability, everything, and they just spread the word. And the word has gotten to Guatemala, like with that training jersey. It's been all the way to Brazil, and we've been working with grassroots and slowly moving up to D2, D1 rugby club, rugby divisions in America. So we do specialize in the Americas. Europe is really not our market right now, but we are trying to grow and trying to answer the question of how do we make rugby more accessible to the average American, and we're working on that mission.
Hey man, just kind of continue trying to build what you do and kind of what you're working on, and it's a good product too.
Yeah,
That helps a lot. Like if it sucked, I wouldn't tell people
it
about it.
does.
You know what I
It
mean?
does help a lot.
Like
Yes,
like
because that's what
it's one of
happens.
those.
You have a friend who plays for a club that decided to go with Credo, and then they take their jersey and play somewhere else, and they compare it. They say, this is so expensive. It's not as good. Why don't you try Credo? And and then they reach out, and then they get their jerseys, and then they play against other clubs, and they ask them, hey, where did you get your jerseys? And it's just word of mouth. But this year I'm trying to change that. This year I'm trying to be a lot more aggressive.
I love that. I mean, one of the things we mentioned, my former university, the University of Wisconsin Eau Claire, the women's team who won the D2, I believe, national championship for the collegiate
That was
women's
amazing.
division. Hey, man, can you tell us a little bit more about that experience?
Yes, that was amazing because that those games were broadcasted. I was having lunch and looking at my phone for the game in real time, and it was just very, very exciting to see how our jerseys that came from being a hobby would make it to the national championship, and then seeing pictures of the girls lifting the trophies, and it was just something unique that I will always remember.
Man, I absolutely love that. I just want to say, man, I appreciate you taking the time. I'm really excited to see how this company continues to grow, and for people not only in the rugby community, but who want to look at sportswear or purchase sportswear for their clubs or maybe even recreational use. Where can they find you on social media? You and your company.
So they can find this on Facebook and Instagram as Credo Rugby Sportswear, and they can find us online as credorugby.com. And we'll be happy. You will see everything we've done, and yeah, we'll be happy to talk to you guys.
Just want to thank you again for taking the time to talk with me, man. Have a great day.
No, thank you. It's just always great to talk with a friend, so I appreciate it. Appreciate your time as well.